Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the very first episode of the SmokeShow podcast by Embers TV.
Yeah, inaugural episode. It's been a little while in the making, but crazy excited for not just this podcast, but everything that Embers TV is going to be doing, and just the awesome content that deserves to get made that we're going to be able to make.
Absolutely. And I mean, you said things have been in the making a little while, and that's kind of an understatement. Months and months have been going into, really making tonight and what we are doing and what we are building happen. And there's energy in the air. It could be my stomach grumbling from all the meat that we've eaten today, but no, there's this sense of like anticipation that I have with what we're here doing this week. And I just couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I agree. It's so cool to be here with all these people who are making not only great content, but more importantly, great food. And I get to learn from people. Like, I have been kind of inundated with the kind of barbecue that I do.
Yeah.
But for me to be able to sit and learn and observe, and if I want to see somebody do an Argentinian style asado, I can watch that. I can eat the food, which is awesome. But then also I can ask questions. Well, why are you moving the coals that way? Why are you, moving things around in the way that you're doing it? What are you looking at? What are you listening for? And it's just tremendous for me to be able to be back in the student's chair and learning from people. And then everybody here loves cooking with fire. And really, it's a very primal thing and brings everybody together around something very simple, but very profound.
Absolutely. By the way, my name is Carlos Bradley, also known as Smoke and Vine on many social media platforms. And this beautiful gentleman to my left, your right, is Jeremy Yoder, also known as Mad Scientist Barbecue. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. It's just, I'm very full.
Yeah.
The only downside is that you eat way too much when there's great food all around you.
Absolutely.
And I came into this, on a pretty good streak of, well, I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to go to the gym every day. But this is kind of throwing a wrench in that, but it's worth it.
Totally worth it. Now, we've mentioned a few times Embers TV. This is the SmokeShow podcast by Embers TV. You're either listening to this podcast or watching this podcast. But Jeremy, tell us, what in the world is Embers TV?
Embers TV, for me, is the platform by which all of the best cooking with fire content will be made.
Yeah.
If you like anything to do with cooking with fire, Embers TV is going to be the home for that. So I have a bunch of different streaming services on my phone and on my smart TV, and this happens all the time. It's like when I go to the fridge and I open it and I look inside and I close it. And I do that multiple times a day for reasons I can't explain. I just go look inside, close it and walk away. I do the same thing with those apps. So I'll open the app, look at it and no, close it and move on. Because when I look at the things that are available for me to watch in those apps, there are only really two possibilities. One is, I've already watched it.
Yeah.
And the other is, I have no interest in watching that. And so for anybody who's interested in cooking meat with fire in any of its forms, Embers TV is going to be specifically directed toward you. So for me, as somebody who loves barbecue, this is going to be the home for all of the best barbecue content. Whereas other streaming services might have content about barbecue, really, I view that as people who are very knowledgeable about production kind of parachuting into the barbecue world and getting the outside observer's take on things. Yeah. Whereas this is people who are immersed in barbecue, bringing in people with the ability to do high quality production, and then through the lens of a barbecue nerd, not hitting the microphone, but through the lens of a barbecue nerd, observing everything that goes on with observing everything that goes on when it comes to cooking meat with fire or cooking anything really with fire.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be kind of from an outsider's perspective. It's the insider's look at cooking with fire in restaurants, at home, in your backyard, all kinds of different ways. But they're going to be answering questions that I have, because when I watch those shows, I get frustrated because I'm like, I wish they would have, taken a look at the pits. Like, what are they using?
Yeah.
Well, what are they cooking with? I mean, what are they seasoned with? What's their process? How are they wrapping? What are they, all those questions that pop up that don't get answered. but along with all of those nice things in terms of production quality that we appreciate about those kinds of shows, it's all going to be brought together so that really the platform to host all of the best cooking with fire content will be Embers TV. So there'll be an app for your phone, whether it's iPhone or Android. If you have a smart TV, if you have a tablet, Embers TV is going to be the home for all live fire cooking, at least all the best of live fire cooking, because there's plenty of cooking content out there.
Yeah.
There's not a scarcity of cooking content, but there is a scarcity of extremely high quality cooking content, both in terms of the information, the entertainment, as well as the production, right? So it's going to be everything that deserves to be made about cooking with fire, all brought together. So you as the viewer, rather than you opening the app and looking through stuff and saying, I have no interest in that, it's specifically directed toward you because it's people with the very same interest that you have in mind who are creating all the content that you're going to be watching.
And you mentioned insiders, right? And that's actually who we're going to be meeting today on this very first podcast of the SmokeShow podcast. We have brought together a team of co-founders here at Embers TV. These are people that represent, various niches within the barbecue and open fire world. And they are some of the biggest and most incredible names on social media and the internet. And we cannot wait to introduce you to them here on this podcast. But before we do that, what are we puffing on right now, Jeremy?
This is a Flor de las Antillas. I think it means flower of the Antilles. I think it's referring to Cuba. But it's made by My Father Cigars, and I pretty much like everything that My Father Cigars makes. They have their line called My Father. They have My Father Le Bijou. They have a bunch of stuff. But big fan of these. It's sun-grown wrapper, so it's more full-bodied but kind of rich in flavor. And we brought a box of these down for everybody to have. Yeah. And I'm liking it a lot.
Absolutely. And are you sipping on anything this evening?
I am. I have a cup of coffee, actually. It's been a long day and a long couple of weeks. I've been doing a lot of cooking, not a lot of sleeping. So black coffee not only gives me caffeine, but just drinking coffee gives me a sense of well-being that I can't really replicate any other way. Yeah. I mean, people talk about like feeling great after they do the ice plunge. That sounds kind of horrible to me, but drinking a cup of coffee and feeling great is something I can totally be on board with.
Totally. And I don't think that there's anything that gives me more energy and that kind of like feeling of well-being in the evening than a glass of red wine. And so in this Yeti tonight, I am drinking some Heights Cellar Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa Valley. And this is actually a really special bottle for me. The last year, I've worked as the head of marketing and e-commerce for Lawrence Wine Estates, which is the owner company of Heights Cellar. Heights Cellar is a super historic Napa winery that is known for their single vineyard Cabernet Sauvignons out of Napa Valley. And they make some of the most incredible wines. I had such an incredible time working with them this last year, but just about a month ago, I've gone full time with Embers TV. And so I'm excited to have this bottle of wine to sip during the podcast.
Nice. All right. This is how much of a moron I am. I thought that all wines were made from grapes from a single vineyard. I thought it was a 1-to-1 correspondence between the vineyard and the winery that makes the wine.
Yeah. So, I mean, every winery is really a little bit different. It kind of depends on like what their program is, what their focus and passion is, and what they're known for. So wines can be known as like a single vineyard designate wine, but they can also, there's a lot of wineries out there that source grapes from either all over a region or sometimes all over the world. It really is just what that winery wants to be known for and the stories that they want to tell through winemaking. So, yeah. It's a little bit of everything. This wine specifically is the Heights Cellar Cabernet Sauvignon Napa Valley. And so this is actually a blend from various vineyards throughout Napa Valley, some of their best vineyards. This is a wine that you can get really all over the United States and, wine shops and grocery stores. And it's always, every year after year, a fantastic bottle of wine. Okay. So, yeah, absolutely one of my favorites.
Does it pair well with barbecue?
It pairs well. I mean, it pairs well with almost everything. Okay. But yes, it pairs well. Like when I think of steak, I think of Heights Cellar. And, if I can afford, one of the single vineyard wines, so Heights Cellar, Martha's Vineyard, Heights Cellar, Linda Falls, something like that. These are, top tier kind of luxury wines, but with that special steak, absolute magic. Totally. So yeah, we've mentioned the co-founding team, and we're going to be listening and hearing from the co-founding team through this episode. But another group that I kind of want to mention is at Embers TV, we have an incredible group of investors that have gotten us to this place that have helped us launch this project. And so I want to say a quick thank you, whether you're listening or viewing, to all of the incredible investors and people that have really helped us here get to this point and are going to, take us and propel us into the future. We have some really great people behind us making this happen.
Yeah, I think in almost any endeavor, if you have people who believe in you, and in this case, believe in us enough to invest their own hard-earned money to support what we're doing, it's tremendously helpful. Not just, I mean, of course, it's super helpful financially, but knowing that you have people in your corner, it's like, okay, we're doing a good thing here.
Yeah.
So it matters.
Absolutely. And without further ado, my good friend and one of the co-founders of Embers TV, Marco Sanchez, also known as Wood, Fire, and Whiskey. Marco, head on up, bring your drink, and also bring a log because the fire is kind of going out.
It's dying down.
Yeah. Nope, no time for that. All right.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's hear it for Marco.
Yeah, Marco.
Thank you, everybody. Be here all week.
Welcome, man.
What's up, man?
How do you feel?
Man, I feel fucking great. I love being in Texas.
Yeah, it's always great being here.
When the heat hits you, you get some good food, you're sitting with good people, and I guess we'll talk about it in a second because I'm a little starstruck by some of the people that are here.
Yeah.
You got a fire going. What more could you want?
What more could you want? Now, Marco has, if I could just say for a minute, Marco has become in the last 3 years genuinely one of my best friends. I can't think of a day where we don't talk. We're always talking. I know, very romantic.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
But genuinely, we help each other through kind of tough times on social media when things aren't hitting the way that we think they should and whatnot. And I'm so glad that you are on this journey with us, building out Embers TV.
I'm actually amazed that you wanted me to be a part of this. I'm a mess.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm a hot mess in one way or another.
So I asked you to bring up your cup. What are you sipping on tonight?
So actually, I got some Treaty Oak.
Oh,
whenever you're around Al, he always has some Treaty Oak.
That's true.
Ain't that right, Al? Where's he at? But yeah, I got some Treaty Oak single barrel. I actually like this. It has a very sweet finish to it. A little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of vanilla, I think is going on.
Yeah.
Let me taste it again. I'll tell you.
Tell us.
Yeah, see, there's a little spice. There's something sweet. I get something that's kind of like a citrus note. I would love some tacos with this. Ooh. Something hot because the spice isn't too bad. So if we had some la chingadera from Rub City, on some carne asada.
Yeah. Fire. So obviously, according to your hat, Wood, Fire, and Whiskey is the social media handle. How did that come about?
So actually, I was just sitting by a fire drinking whiskey.
All right.
That's it. It was literally a bonfire. I didn't know what to call my YouTube channel. And somehow I called myself Wood, Fire, and Whiskey. And I realized, oh, shit, people really expect me to cook with a wood fire. I really wasn't set up to do it. I didn't really know what I was doing. But, as you kind of do things and practice, you learn. You meet some great people that teach you some shit. And, it just kind of evolved into what it is now. You know, actually cooking with wood fire and drinking whiskey, slamming that glass on the cutting board every single time.
Every single time.
It's
Yeah.
a good time.
So the whiskey slam, and it's not always whiskey, but probably 95% of the time whiskey.
Yeah.
The whiskey slam on the cutting board has become the signature Marco move. The slapping the meat. I don't know if you were the first, but there's a really good chance that you were the first on social media.
I think I was the first, Matt.
Oh, shots fired.
No, so I slapped a chicken. It didn't really hit, right? Nobody gave a shit, but it didn't hit. It didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then, other people started slapping their meat. And I was like, wait a minute. It's time for me to take it back a little. But the whiskey slam, I set my glass down one day. And I think somebody commented to slam it. So I slammed it and I said another, but I cut out the another part and just left the slam. And it just fucking worked.
Yeah, I'm getting a little smoked out here, but it's okay. I like it. It's post oak, and so I enjoy the smell.
Just need to throw some weed on it.
Oh, you could.
Yeah.
You could. So when you do the whiskey shot, is it ever like apple juice or anything like that,
Never.
or is it legitimately always
Not
whiskey?
a single time. And actually, I collaborated with 2 creators who wanted to do my slam. One who tried to like fucking take it. This dude Albert can cook. I got to watch this guy slam water and try to pass it off as vodka. And then my other buddy, Chef Authorized. I mean, he was just a G about it. Dude poured milk, and he slammed some milk. I poured a little Angel's Envy and called it a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and with Chef Authorized, you know, he doesn't drink and he's open about that. And
Yeah.
that was the reason for him
Love
slamming
that guy,
milk,
by the
but,
way.
yeah, absolutely. So what I think is really like just special about what you've done on social media, right? I've been one of the first followers. I started following you
It's a fact.
early days, maybe like 3,000 followers, and you were probably following me kind of around the same time. And I have seen you kind of influence and infiltrate and start creative and I would say like cinematic trends without social media.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm sure is rough, and you know, we've kind of talked about this, and it's one of the things that I'm bringing up is like you've started so many like styles of filming and cooking, and sometimes you don't get like, you know, that due respect of like, man, you started that. Like a lot of people weren't filming with multi cameras. And
what I would say to that is I think I started that on TikTok.
Yeah.
So all of the dark kitchens that you see with the moody lighting, yeah, I was the first. Straight up, I was the first. But I mean, people were doing that on YouTube. People were doing that on Instagram. So I can't really claim ownership to it. As far as TikTok, the app, yeah, nobody was doing it before me. And I know I inspired a ton of people because, I mean, you can look through my DMs and I got some of the biggest creators on TikTok hitting me up, asking me for camera advice, what camera they should buy, what audio equipment they need, all kinds of stuff. And there's been a few that I actually walked through how to turn on their fucking camera, you know, how to set their ISO and all the things that you need just to get a decent image out of your camera. Some of them turned out to be pieces of shit.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very grateful, you know?
Yeah. Chud's Barbecue calls me every time he films a video too, and he asks for advice and whatnot.
I've seen the DMs. Just kidding. I love you, Chud.
Yeah, and that's actually not true. But so one of the things I'm really excited for is you have set so many trends stylistically, right? With content in social media, short form. I can't wait to see some of the trends that you helped to create through Embers TV, right?
I mean, look at the people that are here right now. You know, I'm fucking starstruck. I met Matt Groark today. You know, Jeremy Yoder. I met you,
Matt
not
Groark's
too
here?
long ago. I mean, literally, my first, slab of beef ribs. I watched one of your videos like 20 times trying to figure it out. I mean, you were doing it on an offset, and all I had was a fucking Traeger. You know, can we scratch that? All I had was a pellet grill. You know, so I took somewhat of the same principles. You know, temps, timing, when to wrap, etc. And, you know, I think I successfully cooked some beef ribs. You know, we got Matt Groark here. He's one of the first people I followed. You know, that's wild. Al Fragoni. You know, I remember watching Al Fragoni. He's going through his setups, right? He's setting everything up on his Alamo grill. And he had messaged me after I followed him. Forgot what the conversation was, but I had told him, I love your videos and the way you edit. And he was like blown away that I said that. Like, you like my edits? Like, dude, what the fuck? Dude, you're like the best on the fucking app right now. You know, it was just so cool to see the way this guy cooked. TFTI barbecue. You know, I met this guy in Vegas. Funny ass story, right? So we're walking through Vegas.
Oh gosh!
I think we're about to get some pizza.
Is this okay?
I thought it stays in Vegas. Though.
This one, it's not staying in Vegas, Tone. Sorry, buddy. But he looks over at me and he goes, "Bro, you're not even following me yet."
Oh.
And then it started, you know, a long-lasting friendship. Love you, Tone. And Chud's Barbecue, dude, he's like the most entertaining barbecue cook on all of YouTube. Sorry, I'm just saying, but he is.
That's true.
You know, so it's like I got all of my favorites in this space here. You know, so to think about setting trends, I mean, look at all the people you have.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is just. It's kind of a dream come true.
Well, thanks for letting the cat out of the bag with some of the people that are going to be sharing the mic.
Ruined
tonight.
everything.
You ruined it all.
My bad. It's just kind of what I do sometimes.
Tell me kind of in your own words, right? Like we've been working on Embers TV now for months and months, right?
Yeah.
And especially this week, things are kind of coming to fruition with the first series that we're filming this week, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what you're excited about in regards to Embers TV.
Oh, man. there's not much that I'm not excited about. There's everything that we're gonna do. Number one, I'm gonna get to do two things that I love. You know, I've been a videographer since 2009. Got out the Army in 2009. Didn't know what to do with my life, and I jumped into filmmaking. So I'm gonna get to do that, and then I'm gonna be able to create food content with all of you guys. So people that I would watch on social media, I get to taste their fucking food at the same time I'm filming it. So, I mean, it's a good time all around. So being a part of this, I mean, it's like a no-brainer. You have to say yes. You have to be a part of something like this when you're someone like me.
Right.
You're going to get to eat. You're going to get to do what you love in so many different areas. Yeah, it will be uncomfortable at times, and it's going to be hard. Well, hard work never killed nobody.
Yeah.
At least I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, depending on the work.
Debatable. Yeah.
Depending on the work, you know, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be fun. And I mean, I could see where this is all going. And all of us in a few years will be on some yacht barbecuing, doing maybe some open fire with Al on a yacht.
Well, on that note, Marco, it was fantastic having you here. And we could not be more excited that you are on this founding team at Embers TV. And thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I got to get off the chair now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Fuck. I love you guys.
Thanks, Marco. Right,
All right, our next co-founder that we're going to be bringing up is somebody I met a few years ago. It's Brad Robinson from Chud's Barbecue. He is a great creator of barbecue content on YouTube, and he's an even better guy. So, Brad, why don't you come in and grab some wood? You can grab a beer and sit down and let's chat.
I'm really glad you guys invited me because it looks like you clearly need some help with your fire management.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a little pathetic.
There we go. Well done. Well done.
We haven't seen flames yet. Let's evaluate based on flames.
It's okay. We got embers.
Oh, touche.
And TV. It's not my first rodeo, boys.
All right, so Brad, you and I actually met because the internet wanted us to not like each other.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think we should get back to that too.
Just start a feud, have a blood feud.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you might already have one of those going. But we got to know each other because I did a video where I did a brisket wrapped in butcher paper and then kind of in a foil boat. And there were tons of people in the comments who said two things. They said, you totally ripped off Chud and you did it wrong. And I was like, who is Chud? And so then I found you, I think on...
Ouch.
What's a Chud?
Yeah. Well, then I think I found you on Instagram and I messaged you. I was like, hey, a lot of people said that I ripped this off from what you do. Totally wasn't trying to rip you off. If it did, sorry. And you're like, oh yeah, no worries, man. It's all cool. And then we started, I think we filmed something together then and just kind of kept on. We'd see each other at Windy City Smokeout every year. But can you tell us a little bit about your story of how you got into doing barbecue? Because being from New England and having a degree in, is it audio engineering or something?
That's right, yeah.
Isn't a direct path to barbecue. I don't think any of us had a direct path.
Yeah, that's definitely a common theme in barbecue is no one goes to barbecue school. Everyone does random things and finds himself in it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the beautiful thing is, especially today, hanging out with all these guys, is you can tell there's a certain gene or trait or something that really brings us all together. There's a bit of hard work. There's a bit of manual labor. There's a bit of really working for the end product that a lot of people don't have. That is something so special about barbecue. Because if you're going to spend 12 hours cooking a brisket, then either there's something wrong with you or you really love it.
Or both.
Exactly.
Yeah. Lots of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, my story is very similar to most barbecue stories you hear, especially in the Texas, in Central Texas nowadays. There's a lot of younger people getting into it. But yeah, like you said, born and raised New England, New Hampshire. I went to college in Maine for audio engineering, which led me to Austin, Texas, because that's the live music capital of the world. So went down there for a music career. And I did that for a couple of years, but as soon as you say, I'm moving to Texas, everyone's like, you got to try the brisket. And I said, are you talking about biscuits? Like, I know what that is, man. I've been to Red Lobster. I don't need to try that. So then I Googled it. I'll never forget that moment. I'm up in New Hampshire. I Googled it. And it's just, this is like pre-Aaron Franklin era. So it's like clip art, just burnt black pieces of meat. I'm sure the salt lick came up and I'm like, no, dog, that's not for me. I like my steak medium rare. I'm not looking for any like charred meat like that. So then I started looking into it. I watched the, No Reservations episode where Anthony Bourdain went to Franklin and John Miller's place. And once he started talking about the tenderness and the juiciness, I was like, all right, that looks pretty good. I'll give it a try. but you know, I'm a medium rare guy.
Yeah.
And then day 2, I drove down to Austin. Day 2 in Austin, I tried to go to John Miller's place. It was opening week of Law Barbecue, and John Lewis handed me that burn end out the window, as they do. And there was free beer in line, and that meat just, you know, it literally changed the course of my life. You know, I'm talking to him. He's cooking on these old propane tanks. It just, nothing made sense, but it was so good. It was a flavor and a meat that I'd never experienced. And I'm like, I need to learn how to do this because I can't afford to pay $20 a pound for brisket.
You were paying $20 a pound?
Actually, it was like 16 back then.
Oh, wow.
Now it's up to like 40.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah, so I started cooking in the backyard. My sister got me a little Brinkman water smoker for our birthday.
Oh,
And
sweet.
then I went to a Weber kettle, and then I decided I needed a bigger pit, but I couldn't afford one. So I said, how hard could welding be? So I built my first backyard pit, and then, you know, it kind of snowballed from there.
And you've been kind of involved in like all areas of barbecue. Like you just mentioned building pits, building smokers, building grills, but then also in the restaurant scene. Like you're well known for working in a very renowned Austin, you know, barbecue restaurant. Like you've really done it all.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I started cooking in the backyard on the Weber kettles and the Brinkmans and whatnot. And when you're giving, I mean, this is like the cliche of every backyard barbecue kick. When you're giving people free food, they say it's the best they've ever had.
Yeah.
But how good could it possibly be? You know, I'm talking to people in Austin, you know, kids my age, when early 20s, are like, this is better than anything I've ever had. And I'm like, yeah, you're just blowing smoke up my ass. So I decided, I'm like, I need to actually put my skills to the test to see how this really does compare. So I started looking at jobs. That's how I met Evan Leroy, who owned or worked at Friedman's. That was my first job back in 2015. And once I started working on 500,000 gallon smokers, pumping out like 40 to 60 briskets a day, like ribs, making sausage, it kind of blew my mind, like how much I didn't know, like, and also how much wasn't being represented from that world on the internet.
Yeah.
Because I learned how to cook by watching YouTube videos. I learned how to weld by watching YouTube videos. So when I get a job in the Austin barbecue scene and I'm cooking alongside all the greats, you know, like within a few months, I'm like working next to Aaron Franklin at events. I'm working with the guys from like Raw Barbecue and all this stuff. And there's so many tips and tricks and little moves and secrets and like fire management like that just didn't exist on YouTube.
Yeah.
So as someone who learned how to cook on YouTube, that's what I was thinking about in the back of my mind the whole time, is like someone needs to, you know, share this. So that's what eventually led me to start the YouTube channel after, you know, 8-10 years of working professionally in barbecue in Austin. And yeah, it's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned sausage making,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw the tattoo on your lower back earlier today that
you
said
saw
sausage, Sausage King of Texas.
That's what it says.
So is that true? Are you the Sausage King of Texas?
I wouldn't say that because, you know, if you challenge anybody in Texas, it could end in a gun battle. But I wouldn't shy away from a competition. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of sausage in my day. And, you know, it's so fun. Like sausage making, I tell people, is like a microcosm of what barbecue is.
Yeah.
You know, you're taking the scraps left over and you're putting it into something that is so much better than the sum of its parts. It's half skill, half technique, half science, but also there's so much room for creativity.
Yeah.
And that's what barbecue is in general.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a perfect example. Like if you're not making sausage, it sucks to get started because you need a lot of gear and some skills, but it's so much fun to make, and you can do whatever you want. You know, there's no rules to sausage. Like brisket, you need to have smoke, you need to have bark. You know, if you do, there's a way to do brisket wrong.
Right.
There's no way to do a sausage wrong.
And you say, you know, you talk about sausage making. Now, I might have some insider knowledge, but there may be like a sausage making masterclass
I've heard about that.
soon to air on Embers TV, right?
Yeah, I think I'm ready for that.
I'm ready for that. I'm going to watch that.
I'm excited.
I'm going to learn from that.
I'm just excited to dive deep. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like really get into all the nitty gritty, because there's only so much you can put on YouTube, because my YouTube channel is, I like to think of it as like a 50-50 educational entertainment, maybe a little more entertainment than educational. But, you know, if I really gave all the knowledge that I wanted to, people would fall asleep. They would lose viewership. But like, that's because I don't have the capability to produce a series that is well shot with B-roll and high quality. And it's like what you were saying earlier, Jeremy, is there's just a whole world that is yet to be explored in the barbecue world and just live fire cooking in general that because you and I are both just dudes in our backyards that bought a camera on Amazon.
Well, and you always, or at least I always run into this thing where I see it in my head, like what it's going to look like, what the background is going to be, what that shot is going to look like. And then I might attempt to do it, but my lack of knowledge about cameras or framing or whatever, always results in some diminished excellence.
Right.
Like in my head, it was this thing and it was great. And then I see the footage and I'm like, it didn't really turn out like I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you expand that to like the entire process of production and like what we can execute in terms of ideas, that's what gets me super excited. Like, I've been like holding on to this idea that I haven't told anybody about, but I know it would be awesome and we could now do it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a problem too. Is like I'm a one-man band when it comes to the YouTube videos. It's me and a tripod alone in the backyard.
Yeah.
And it's just I always think about imagine if I had one more person.
Yeah.
What I could do or what we could do or what all of us could do. And that's another thing that I really love about what Embers is doing is in the restaurant business, there's such a cooperative attitude. Like there's no competition between restaurants, like pitmasters love meeting up and hanging out and talking to each other, swapping stories, talking shit about customers. Like there's such a community vibe to Texas barbecue when it comes to the top 50 joint. Like I'm friends with everyone on the top 50 joint, you know what I mean? But when it comes to barbecue content, especially when I was first getting started, it's kind of a little bit more closed off.
Yeah.
Or pit building, it's the same thing. It's a little bit more closed off because people don't want to give away their secrets or they don't want to share their fame that they worked so hard for. But that's why I was super pumped when you reached out to me because that's what I want the whole barbecue world to be. Like whether it's on YouTube, whether it's pit building, whether it's anything, because we're all friends here. We're all doing the same thing. And like I started this interview off saying, like, if you're willing to put in the hard work to cook a brisket or make sausage or tend to fire, you're a friend of mine. Like, let's have some beers and smoke a few stogies.
Yeah, you mentioned cooperation, and I think what I see with everybody involved in this project is a lot of, I hate using this word because it's such a buzzword and I hear it all the time, but synergy, like working together. Yeah, you also hate it? Yeah, it just drives me nuts. I'm like, I heard synergy again. But just working together is where, it's more than just the sum of its parts. So it's more than just, Brad plus me plus Carlos. It's together we can do stuff that we couldn't do individually and then add together.
Right.
And so that's what I'm really excited about because like Brad, you'll have an idea. I'm like, that makes me think of this and we could do and we can work on it together because for you, I'm guessing it's the same way it is for me. When I create a video, it's like, I have an idea. Right. And then I have to take that basically to finished video on YouTube. And there aren't other people who are like, really you should do it like this, or here's a great idea, or why not set it up this way? And now we have those people that can speak into the project and make it better and elevate it beyond what it could be otherwise.
I mean, honestly, I think that Embers TV was inevitable in whether it's this group or another group, like the higher platform for this content it's an inevitability. Everyone loves barbecue. It's spreading around the world like wildfire.
Yeah.
It's on every platform. I just found out that it's on Snapchat. I didn't know that was a thing still.
Yeah, me either. I thought Snapchat was, like kids would send each other like 10 seconds of like.
For the folks listening, he just made a kissy face and it's adorable.
Thank you, Brad.
You can send me that anytime.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you're right. I think in a lot of ways it was inevitable. I was telling a story today about I talked to this guy. He was Persian, and he said to me, cooking meat with fire is part of my culture. And in my head, I thought, yeah, it's like when humans began walking, it was part of everyone's culture, right? So yeah, every culture has some history of cooking meat with fire. It's kind of what separates human beings from, other primates is cooking meat with fire. And so I think that kind of universal nature of it is why, maybe a particular style might spread around like Texas style barbecue. Mm-hmm. You're not from Texas. I'm not from Texas. Mm-hmm. You are not from Texas.
This is fact.
Okay, yeah.
I lived in Texas for 8 years.
But what captured, the interest was that was the kind of cooking meat with fire that was available and was attractive. And there are other methods of cooking meat with fire, but that one, I mean, and there's definitely merit, and it's my favorite way to cook meat with fire. But there are other ways that we can do it, and we can highlight that. And I'm just excited about all the awesome stuff that people get to see, that I get to see, that I get to learn from. It's really exciting.
I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. This is inevitable that this is going to happen at this level. One, I'm super glad to be a part of it, but two, I'm just excited to watch what happens.
Yeah,
It's like if all these people are doing all these amazing videos and pieces of content with their phones and these cameras, imagine like the potential.
The potential.
Brad, do you at all feel like the old guy? Because I had the feeling like I'm the old guy because I don't know about these other platforms where you can create content, and I know nothing about TikTok, and I'm just not aware.
I did get that feeling today because everyone here is, except for you and me, is primarily short form content, which is, a product of the last like 2-3 years, where YouTube has been around since not 13.
Since cats were playing pianos.
Yeah. And it's like, it's frustrating, man. That's also kind of why I'm excited to work with this, is because I'm not familiar with the short form. I've done it. I've tried it. I've taken a stab at it, but I've never actually aimed at it. So I'm just hearing the guys talk today about their strategy. They're talking a different language than what you and I talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
And, just to, again, bring us like that group together. Yeah. The short form and the long form content folks together. Yeah. It's like, it's the whole rising tide bit, we're not competition.
Well, the other cool thing I think about this is that rather than chasing the algorithm, we get to just create the very best content possible.
Yeah. We can do whatever we want.
Or in Marco's words, we are the algorithm.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Brad, did you bring a drink up with you?
Oh, I did. Yes.
What you drinking?
I'm drinking a nice, cold, refreshing local Texas Pilsner known as Miller Lite, only 96 calories.
That sounds great. That sounds great right now. Awesome. Well, Brad, it was fantastic having you.
We got a squirter, boys.
We do. It was fantastic having you join us tonight. Thank you so much. We're so excited for just all the things that you're going to be involved with Embers TV, and thank you.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you for bringing me on. It's awesome. Just like today has already made everything worth it.
Nice.
And I'm just super pumped to see where this goes and just to keep hanging out and cooking some good food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Cheers, thanks,
boys.
Brad.
Cheers. Moving right along, I am super excited to announce our next guest and co-founder of Embers TV, Mr. TFTI Barbecue, also known as Tone Ramiers. And for any of you that don't know what TFTI stands for, which there was someone today in the group, I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but there was someone today that was like, Carlos, what does TFTI mean? and they were coming up with a bunch of different possibilities of what that could mean. TFTI, thanks for the invite. TFTI Barbecue, let's hear it for Tone Ramiers.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Please stay seated.
There we go. Some more wood on the fire.
Oh, look at this.
I'll tell you what, man, the bugs are getting vicious right now.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm thinking the smoky fire might be keeping them at bay.
Which is insane because they're getting kind of vicious.
Well, I think so scientifically, I think that bugs are actually attracted to some people more than others. And I think I'm one of the people they're less attracted to. But my wife gets lit up by mosquitoes, and I don't get a bite.
I get lit. I mean, I already have bites
Yeah,
all
I get
over my
bit
legs.
too.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Yeah. Tone,
Hey,
what is up, man?
Yeah, man.
chilling, man.
Welcome.
Having fun.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Welcome to Texas. It's been a while since you've been in Texas, right?
Yeah.
So,
No, I come here quite often.
you
know?
do.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, Tone was here and cooking at an event. He was here with his whole family. He was cooking at Treaty Oak this last weekend. Left yesterday to come back.
And then flew back. I got home at like 7 p.m. and then flew back out at 5
At 5
a.m.
Man, that's dedication right there.
So I had to be here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What a guy.
Changing history.
man, I remember when I first saw your content come up, and your content upset me.
Ooh.
And not in the way like, man, I know I don't like this guy. It upset me because every time you held that piece of meat to the camera, which you still do to this day,
Mhm.
it looks so fucking good. And I was
you,
like,
thank you,
my
thank you.
chicken wings don't look that good.
Mm.
And I
It's-
know they
it's-
taste good.
It's the camera.
It's like, yeah, whatever. But you know, I'm honored and I'm excited that you're here because, man, in just I don't know, it's been a year and a half, 2 years maybe since we've been following each other. But
Mhm.
you're another one that, man, you become one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And
Likewise, man.
you know, you're another person that we talk all the time. And you know, we get together, we talk about real shit. I've been at, you know, your house for parties, you've been at my house for parties and
Yep.
with my family. And man, I'm excited you're here. What are you drinking?
Old fashioned by Treaty Oak.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty
love
good.
it. That old fashioned is dangerous.
It is. I think it was last year when me and Marco we went to Treaty Oak, and
Yeah.
it was the first time we tasted this, and I've been hooked since. Man.
Hooked.
It's delicious.
So tell us, Tone, how did you get your start in social media? Because I feel like you haven't been an influencer your whole life.
No. I mean, I was always in social media. I was like doing cars. I was a president for a car club, stuff like that. And I've always cooked, but I never thought it was cool to, you know, film myself or take pictures of my food. You know,
Yeah.
I did it on my personal page, you know, and then even then, like, you know, friends and family wouldn't like it. They'd be like, "What? Why the fuck are you showing your food?" You know. And then it wasn't until my girlfriend and then she kept sending me TikTok videos, and she was just like, "I know you can do it. I know you can do it better. This and that."
Yeah.
And then I had some of my buddies catch on, and then finally I just gave it a shot, did it, and it just took off.
And
Pretty much.
you know, you talk about like, I know you can do it better, man. Like, major props. This guy started and he was editing every video that he posted on his phone, and now he's at the point where he's got like a full editing setup at his house, 2 screens. One of them is vertical. Like,
Yeah.
This guy's gonna out edit all of us within like 6
I got to
months.
evolve, man. I
Yeah.
got to evolve. You know,
It's
taking
props.
lessons from Marco.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't tell too many people that, but yeah, for sure. For sure. And so how did the name TFTI come about?
It was years ago when I first heard the acronyms. I think one of my friends told me about it, and then like I kind of played it out. Like I kept saying it to everybody, like TFTI this, TFTI that. They'd post like pictures of like them at their girlfriend's birthday party or whatever, and then I just be like TFTI, you know. And then like when I started posting like food pictures on my personal page, like my friends that did support me at that time, that's what they would say, TFTI. Like, why wasn't I invited? You know.
Yeah.
And then like when I started my page or social media, that was the first thing that popped in my head. TFTI barbecue. You know?
Yeah.
'Cause I already know everybody's gonna be like TFTI.
Yeah, he still plays out the phase because like Marco and I will we all live fairly close to each other within like an hour or so of each other, and so Marco and I will invite him places, and he won't go. And then when like he sees us there, he'll be like, "Yo, TFTI." It's like, bro, we invited you.
Well, I'm just telling you. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
There you go.
So tell us, man, why are you excited about what we're doing here at Embers?
I mean, like everything you guys said, it's going to be different from all these other social media platforms. Another bigger and better outlet. A lot of ways that we're going to be able to, bring things that ain't out there to the table. Like something, like that I want to do is like, find all the hidden gem barbecuers that are out there. Like a lot of people that don't have the big following, and stuff like that, and me being able to bring them to light and then giving them a chance that, all of us got,
Yeah.
And I've always been like that. You can ask Carlos, I like to help people, and I think that's something that's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these creators, like they're been on the platform way before me for years, and they're still, at the bottom, and they're probably better cooks than me.
Yeah.
They're just, their stuff never took off. And Embers TV, I think, like with what I want to bring to the table is, as far as, shows or whatever, I think that's going to help them come out.
I love that.
It's
Yeah,
going to be
that's
pretty
great.
dope, man. And yeah, it's going to change a lot. We're going to be the new algorithm, like you guys said.
The new algorithm.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
the algorithm.
Yeah, I like that. I think with creating content on social media, sometimes it seems that the algorithm is really fickle. And sometimes you can make a video so I'll make a video sometimes that I know this isn't going to get watched by a lot of people, but for the people who are watching this, it's going to be really helpful.
Yeah.
So I got to make this video. I wish it could do as well as something kooky and crazy that I know will get a lot of clicks and views.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool, that idea of highlighting people who might not have a big social media following and really getting to showcase what they do, because I think it's a great way to inspire people who are cooking at home. It's like, you know what? I can do this. You know, I'm gonna get a smoker and start cooking, or I'm gonna get a grill and try to do what I've seen done. I've seen people now doing it in their backyards who are creating content, and then even people who aren't creating content, who are just an average Joe or Jane who could do this sort of thing. I'm gonna get after it and do it myself.
Exactly.
So
And
it's
I
cool.
think it'll be real cool, you know, bringing all that to light, and I think it's going to draw a lot of more people to the platform too. You know, what I mean, a lot of people that that know those struggles as those people that we brought onto the show, and then it's gonna bring a lot of people to it.
One of the things that I love that you've done with your social media content and your platform is you've drawn attention to your heritage, right?
Yeah.
And it's a heritage that I think people don't necessarily think of, like barbecue or outdoor or open fire cooking, but you've brought that to light, and now you start to see people making those dishes and whatnot, which I'd love you to speak a little bit on that and your heritage and your upbringing, and like where that excitement and passion lies.
So my father, he was in the Navy for 40 years. He was a chef. He's Filipino from the Philippines. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom for her entire life, and she's from Louisiana. She's Cajun. So I've always ate the Filipino food, Cajun food growing up, from our family gatherings, or my mom would cook them both, and I learned those recipes. And then when I got into barbecue, and especially social media, and then just for me to try to do something different than what everybody else was doing, I was like, why not make this into barbecue? Why not make this Filipino adobo, chicken adobo, barbecue adobo, and these Cajun style wings or flavors into like wings or something like that, and when I did it, it took off. A lot of people loved it. I mean, granted, like a lot of people hated it though. There's a lot of gatekeepers out there, and they're like, that's not Filipino food, that's not Cajun food. But me being different, I thought it was just cool. It brought a whole nother wider spectrum to barbecue that I think a lot of people are trying to pick up on, like with their own heritage, and I think it's dope.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that cooking things with fire removes any exclusivity. Cooking stuff with fire just tends to make people congregate, right? So you could go into the middle of a parking lot and start cooking stuff with fire. You'd have a crowd of people around you in no time. They don't know you, right? They're just like, what's going on over here? I smell some food cooking. I mean, and for people to try to like set up barriers and boundaries on the internet when it comes to cooking with fire, I think is unhelpful at best, and maybe malicious at worst.
Yeah. And that's one of the goals, right, with Embers TV, is to break down those barriers and really make open fire, barbecue, outdoor cooking open and accessible for everyone.
Exactly.
And what I love is all the creators, the co-founders here, like they all kind of represent that in their content, and especially you, right, with the content that you produce.
Right on. Appreciate that.
So, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And cheers, brother, to
Cheers.
Embers TV. All right.
All right, thanks, Tone.
Let's hear it for Tone.
All right, our next co-founder that we're going to be talking to is somewhat of a social media superstar. He's been on Next Level Chef. You guys probably know him from Groark Boys Barbecue. It's Matt Groark. So you want to come on down? You can throw a log on the fire.
Let's
and talk to
go.
us.
I'm thinking this is like our thing.
Yeah, man.
Slap the wood.
Slap the wood.
Slap the wood. Marco, I slapped my meat before you did, but you just made it go viral. Yeah. I'm an old head, so.
Wow.
Man, let's
welcome.
go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, Matt, one cool thing about you is you're actually a school teacher. And before I started doing barbecue full time with my catering business, I was a school teacher. I don't know what it's like for you, but for me, it got to the point where I hated the job. I loved the kids. And so it was just a conundrum, right?
It's
Loved the
crazy.
kids,
I can relate how much I
hated the
relate
job.
to that.
There was a point like towards the end, just before I quit, when I was doing catering on the weekends, I was hardly sleeping and I was teaching, where if you could have woken me up on a Monday morning and said, hey, you can either go to work today or I can tase you and you stay home, I would have gotten tased 11 times out of 10. And I'm not even kidding. I seriously had that thought every day. What's it like for you balancing, working as a teacher, molding young minds, with doing all this cooking?
So probably the number one question I get, in terms of the amount of content I put out and the time I think people see me spending doing it. I think all of us here can relate to that part of it. We get the question like, how do you do it all? A lot. But when you have a full-time thing and you're not doing this creator thing full-time, that question comes a lot more often. And I think to a degree, I haven't known anything else. I've been teaching for 20 years. I'm finishing my 20th year now, which is surreal to me because I don't feel like a 20-year veteran teacher.
You're really old.
It's crazy, right? 45 and hair like this. Best hair in barbecue.
He's bald on top. The hair is just
okay. Let's just put that to rest first.
That's a pretty good flow. Pretty good flow.
Wow.
Let's put that to rest. I know there's multiple people out there talking about how they have the best hair in barbecue. Let's just get that out of the way.
We should do an
Fabio over
all
here.
barbecue hair team.
Yeah, that would be legit.
Like they had the Minnesota hockey teams. You know what I'm talking about?
That would be legit because the guys that I'm thinking of are kick-ass barbecue guys too.
Nice.
So I think that would be a wicked team. But yeah, 20 years in the job, I do love it. But I relate a lot to what you said. Education in general has changed a lot in the last 4 to 5 years. The last 3 years especially. After COVID, this post-COVID stuff. I think it's changed kids. I think it's changed how they socialize, how they connect, how they talk. So, as much as I love my job and I love teaching and I know how blessed I am to do what I do, I'm a phys ed teacher. Nice. I get paid the same amount that the honors chemistry teacher gets paid.
True.
And I teach, health and phys ed. So,
yeah, you do lawn bowling and
who's the smart one, right?
This is a good point.
So, I'm blessed to do what I do, but I caught this bug, man. I caught this fire. That's what did it. Did it.
What was the moment? I think everybody has a moment that they can look back to, or some kind of experience.
So food has always been part of my life, like since I started working. My first job at 16, I was a dishwasher at a restaurant that my sister was a waitress at, and quickly got moved to like prepping, like, here, kid, chop some onions and, make some salads. And, I would do that. And ever since then, I kind of, waited tables, and all up until I was in my early 30s was waiting tables because it was the quickest way to get cash in your pocket. And as a teacher, even being married and having a family now, 2 teacher salaries don't cut it. You're still living paycheck to paycheck with 2 teacher salaries. So I always had 3 jobs. I always had my job teaching. I was a coach and I did driver's ed. So I was teaching driving lessons to kids, 16 years old, to get their licenses.
Interesting. He didn't wear a seatbelt once today.
Oh my God, I was risking my life, right? Yeah. The beep kept going off. Carlos is like, seatbelt, get all pissed
seatbelt
at
on,
me.
let's go.
But, and I also waited tables. So I was always hustling, right? I was always hustling. I always had, 3-4 jobs at a time, full-time teaching, and then like 3 side gigs, but starting in early 2000s, I'm from right outside of Philadelphia in South Jersey. I'm a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'm here in Texas, which is enemy territory, right? So, we're a little ways from Dallas. So I don't think I have any enemies here, but tailgating, man.
Yeah.
That was it. Like my story is a little different in terms of what that moment was. You know, I think we've talked about food bringing people together, and you can have a grill out and you're throwing meat on it and you're cooking steaks and ribs and, you know, whatever you're cooking, people gravitate to that. You know, people, complete strangers in a parking lot, you know, you're connecting through sports, but the same thing that sports do for people, food does.
Yeah.
And I think early on, you know, early 2000s and so on, I've been a season ticket holder since then. That's always the case. No matter what you're cooking, there's strangers coming by to feed. And you know, they'll eat, and you're more than welcome. You're more than happy to cook for them. And you know, my wife's like, or my brother or my dad, like, yo, we bought all that stuff. Why are you giving it away? I'm like, because there's no better feeling than handing somebody the food you cooked and seeing how much they love it. And I think that's what did it for me, was that, even more so than just the act of grilling, was the reaction that food brings, you know, that food and cooking and grilling does. So for me, that was that moment. And then, you know, the barbecue, social media stuff all kind of happened.
And
after
like
that.
you say stuff, but like, I think you're kind of like the ultimate success story, right? It's way more than just stuff, right? How many followers on TikTok?
3.4 million.
How many subscribers on YouTube?
Stopped dead in its tracks at 650,000. 650K.
Like,
I've been there for a while, but
you know, huge kind of social media barbecue sensation. And then now a television competition show sensation, owning your own business and, you know, feeding food and catering to the masses, owning your own rub company. Wink, wink, wink.
Shirts.
Little Rub
Shirts.
City action.
There you go.
But like, man, you've kind of done it all. Like, and it just started with like a few videos on TikTok.
It did. And it's crazy how fast it all happened, right? Like, you know, people ask me all the time, how much longer am I going to teach? You know, because I have so much stuff going on.
I think we start out every conversation out.
And people seemingly think that I could just walk away from teaching because of the success on social media and the businesses and the partnerships and all that kind of stuff that I have going on. And, you know, there's a lot more things that play into that, you know, being able to walk away from a 20-year secure job with a pension and benefits and all that stuff. But, you know, I've been able to let my wife retire, you know, because she was dealing with, you know, she was in education too, and dealing with a lot of what you were, Jeremy, like, man, like tase me every morning. You know, she was an administrator during COVID, you know, so she was dealing with all of it. And we were able to, you know, have a hard conversation and like, you know what, do it. Done. You're done. Be home with the kids. I have an 8 and 7-year-old, and she's able to be home with them. And, you know, I put my foot on the gas and, you know, just kept rolling with this. But, you know, it's, there's a lot of things involved. There's a lot of different areas, but at the end of the day, you know, being able to juggle all those things, I know that at some point, this is going to be a full-time thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether that happens in 5 years, you know, which technically I kind of say is that number that I need to keep teaching, you know, 5 more years and then I could retire, or if it happens before then, you know, knock on wood, hopefully. But, it's been wild. It's been a roller coaster, but it's all happened so quick in large part because of social media, you know, and how crazy viral things can get. And, you know, that kind of leads into exactly why I'm excited about what's brought us here, you know, together, is because, you know, and you guys have spoken on it before, but to be able to turn my focus to not creating content for virality anymore. You know, I think all of us can kind of say that, like, I don't think we ever hit that post button without hoping that it goes viral, without waking up the next morning and checking and going, shit, you know, friggin' 5,000 views, you know, or whatever. To be able to create the kind of content that we're building here with the team that we have and the minds that are in this room and do it without having to worry about something going viral to dictate the success of it is what I'm most excited about. Because at the end of the day, I'm a teacher. And, you know, I think a lot of what has garnered my success on social media has been that teaching element. You know, as much fun as I have, as much as I'm wrapping honey buns in bacon and, you know, donuts with bacon. This guy wraps everything in bacon. That's all he does. Or he pretends to feed his vegetarian wife meat. And that's the only reason he's, you know, viral. You know, but at the end of the day, to hopefully take those bits of actual knowledge and teaching that you do and do it on this kind of platform that Embers is bringing is pretty insane.
So do you think we can expect any of those like super viral Groark Boys barbecue, you know, the honey buns wrapped in bacon, the trying to, you know, to get it, trick his wife, his vegetarian wife to eat meat? Can we expect any of those to make their way into Embers TV?
Look, I think, I mean, that's those ideas, that creativity is never going to disappear.
Yeah.
Like, I think I mean, who knows? There might be some guest appearances by my wife.
Yeah.
In a master class. Who knows?
Maybe the first steak that she eats in how many years?
You just never know.
It's on our map.
She hasn't eaten meat since she was 12 and she's 45 now. So
poor thing.
Yeah, her premiere might be on Embers TV. Who knows? But no, I think
Kristen,
that's
you
what's
listening
cool.
to this?
We're gonna incorporate a lot of that just fun creativity that a lot of us have, and you know, I think I get some laughs, and you know, people watch my content because it's fun and it's real, and my kids are screaming in the background and dogs are barking, and you know, I don't have a fancy camera set up. I never have, probably never will, but you know, I think everyone that's been up here has spoken to having that opportunity to create the content that you really want to at a more highly produced level.
For sure.
You know, because a lot of us just can't do it.
Random question. You know, you've cooked for sports, you know, professional players. You've cooked for Gordon Ramsay. Aside from the people that you've cooked for, who's the person that, man, if I could cook some barbecue or a steak for this person, like that's the dream person I'd love to cook for?
Oh man, put me on the spot with that question. Wow.
I mean, I don't think anyone here could say that they've cooked for Gordon Ramsay, right?
No, I mean, look, to cook for Gordon Ramsay, and in that first episode, you know, be able to grab a protein that I was comfortable with and whip up something. I mean, you know, that he was able to look at and tell, you know, man, whoever cooked this knows how to really nail their meat. You know, I nail my meat. That's just what I do. And, you know, I walked away from that judging like, all right, I'm good. Send me home. Like if I go home tomorrow, I'm good. Because Gordon said that. But
by the way, you had a goal, right? On Next Level Chef.
Yeah, I did.
What was the goal? Can you tell us what the goal was?
100% I could tell you that goal. So, and listen, production, this is no secret. Just because they didn't air it, you know, during the show that actually aired on Fox, I thought they were going to air it episode 1. But yeah, my goal was to kind of bring a little bit more respect and value back to our barbecue world, you know, our barbecue crew, because in season 1, and I can only say this because he's a buddy of mine, my boy Gary, the barbecue chef, also known as that on all social media platforms, got booted first. And with a name like Gary, the barbecue chef, to get booted first was embarrassing. And I swore to production.
How do you think he lives with himself?
I don't know. I've told him. I said, Gary, I am going into this with the sole purpose of beating you, of regaining the respect that our name deserves in the barbecue community. And, you know, he was a good sport about it. They never aired it, which sucked because I thought it would have been hilarious. But, you know, I gave it to him pretty good, and production laughed about it. They thought it was funny. I think it's part of what got me on the show. Because they knew I was willing to kind of talk shit a little bit. So, yeah, and it worked out. You know, 7 episodes compared to 1. I'll take it.
There we go. So,
I think I won.
So who's the dream to cook for?
Man, the dream cook. So if I could serve or cook barbecue to anyone.
Ron Jaworski.
Man, Jaws. Yeah, probably not.
Oh.
I mean, you know, I think I've been talking quite a bit to John Kruk lately. Crucker.
Yeah.
You know, he does
Baseball player?
Yeah, he does the announcing for the Phillies and stuff like that. We connected on Twitter. You know, right now, I think it would be super cool to get involved with, you know, either the sports community or even the country music community. Like, there's something about country music and barbecue to me that just vibes.
Yeah.
And I found out over the last couple months that one of the biggest up and coming, you know, country artists, Zach Bryan, made really viral and famous from Yellowstone on, you know, the TV show. Lives in Philly.
Yeah.
And he's a huge Eagles fan, 4 for 4 Philly fan.
Yeah.
So if I could use my social standing online to snag, you know, some sort of tailgate with Zach Bryan, you know, where he could whip out a guitar and start playing acoustic, and we're friggin' cooking on a grill in a parking lot of an NFC championship game in Philly to go to the Super Bowl.
Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go.
That's it.
So, it's kind of an ideal circumstance for you.
I mean, that'd be,
NFC championship game.
Yeah, very specific.
No, maybe he spoke that into existence right now.
Manifestation.
So when Zach actually watches this Embers TV Smoke Show podcast, he's going to hear us talking about it.
Yeah, Zach, we're all huge fans, by the way.
It's going to end up happening. Little does he know that we've been vibing to his music all day.
All day long.
Yeah.
Matt, what are you drinking? What's in the hand? What's in the cup?
So this is a beer I was introduced to today. I am a beer guy.
Yeah.
I learned pretty early on that, you know, I become a different person on hard alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, I'll enjoy an old fashioned or, you know, smoked old fashioned or something like that every once in a while, but I can't do just a glass of whiskey on the rocks or anything like that. Changes me. So I'm a beer guy. I drink beer like water. But this is a new one, and it's actually called Pitmaster.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what better beer to drink all day than a Pilsner called Pitmaster?
It's already got your name on it.
I'm drinking today. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you know, I think maybe it's appropriate to pour a little bit out for the memory of Gary the barbecue chef.
A little bit for Gary.
Gary the barbecue chef. Gary. There we go. I like it.
Gary the Pitmaster.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for joining us. You know, something that we didn't even touch on today, but you know, you and I, we've known each other for quite a while. We met in person, and we actually launched a rub company, a seasoning company together, and that's now been going strong for a little over 2 years, and
it's going to continue to grow, and we're going to do more with that.
Let's go.
You know, I think we're going to have an opportunity to talk about a lot more things.
Rubcity.com.
Yeah, rubcity.com.
Let's go.
Check it out.
Matt, thanks for joining us
you
today,
got
man.
it, guys. Love it, man.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to what's to come.
Hand of applause for Matt. Groark. All right. So the last and final guest that we're going to be interviewing on this evening's podcast, Alejo Fragoni, also known as Al Fragoni.
AKA El Orgullo de Argentina.
Híjole madre. Al, let's hear it for Al Fragoni, guys.
What's up, guys?
Right now.
First, I have to fix that, okay?
Man, don't pretend you know what to do with fire. It's like, come on, this is.
Oh, look at that bare hand.
Grabbing it with his hands.
Wow.
He's
some airflow here.
Airflow. I guess that's important.
Yep.
Alejo, ¿cómo estás?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome to the podcast.
Doing good?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing better now. How are you doing?
Doing awesome, guys. You have it.
Now, this is the most handsome member of the Embers TV co-founders. Absolutely.
I don't have Matt's hair, but you know, I try.
You know, but man, the eyes, the smile. You know, you had me at hello.
Yep.
So, Al, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me here,
now,
man.
But you say thanks for having you, but this is your place.
Okay, yeah.
You know, you're having us here. Tell us where we are. Explain to us where we're at right now.
Okay, we're in Comfort, Texas. This is Central Texas, the Texas Hill Country. We are like 1 hour away from San Antonio. That's the biggest city we have around. Nothing around. You already can tell.
Yeah.
We have the Guadalupe River. This house I used to make content, and I use it as an office. And thank you for coming here.
Absolutely.
This is a super awesome place. I mean, I'll confess more than just a little bit of jealousy. I know some other people are just kind of saying the same thing, like, dude, this place is so awesome. This is way better than my backyard.
Well, awesome people have awesome places, huh?
Ándale.
Touche.
Now, Al, tell us what are we doing here this week? You know, there's a reason aside just from this podcast that we're here. Tell us.
We're gonna do open fire masterclass.
Oh,
right? Everything that you want to know about open fire. If you already are into open fire, if you want to like expand your smoking or your grilling to open fire, that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna film masterclass focusing in equipment, on fire management, on how the principles about open fire, how they are different from smoking, and that's what we're gonna do, right?
and I think that it's so timely. It's so timely that we're doing this because I feel like there's so many people right now that maybe they've been into smoking meat for 5-10 years, but it's like open fire is the next frontier for people, right? It's becoming so popular and people are wanting to make that transition to, they've owned various types of smokers, but now they want to get into either the Argentine or the Central Texas style of open fire. So it couldn't be a better time for us to be filming this masterclass.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest, right? Like me being posting for over 3 years now, and I think like a lot of people are very intrigued about it. They're very like attracted to the open fire, right? Mainly people that already smoke and grill. So I think like yes, it's a perfect timing to teach all those people how to do this primal way of cooking, right?
Absolutely.
And again, it's not a difficult way of cooking, right? People, they feel attractive to, but sometimes they feel intimidating, right? But it's like my mission here is like to tell people it's not, right?
Yeah.
It's easy, right? And mainly people like you guys that already smoke, right? It's like I don't have to teach you. I have to give you like those tips.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like small tips that they're gonna make it so easy. Right?
Well, I think also the other side of that though is we were here last night and you did an asado for us. And there were all kinds of little things like minor tweaks and things that you were doing. So there's a lot kind of going on. It's just like background, your brain working on this needs to happen this way. And I was just fascinated by seeing it and just kind of drawn to every move that you made. Well, why'd you put coals over there? And I kind of came and pestered you with some questions. But I think it's a simple philosophy, but then executing it, you just had so much practice that it's just like second nature for you, I think.
Yeah, well, I grew up doing this, right? Yeah. I'm from Argentina, so everybody does that. It's part of our culture. So you grew up doing that. For me, it's kind of easy doing it because I did it all my life. But still, I think like if people get the basic concept about open fire, it can make it easy, right? It's like you guys smoking, right? It's fire management. That's what it's all about, right? Like. It's a different way, like a different temperature, or different. The fire is more aggressive on the meat, but still it's like managing that fire. Put those pieces of protein there and be patient, right? I always say like we have like in open fire, it's like everything is like patience.
Yeah,
you have to relax. Like open fire is more like. If I have to compare smoking that I really love, when I moved to Texas, I really love smoking. I get so involved. I actually watching your videos right on YouTube. I get some passionate about smoking. I just want to figure out how it's done and everything. But then I realized that when you smoke, this how you say it, the big price of smoking is the final result, right?
Right.
When you slice that brisket. Right, and in open fire, the pleasure of open fire is the whole process.
Just the process,
right? It's like you enjoy the whole process.
And when you watch a master, and I would say that Al Fragoni is a master. When you watch a master at work, it's legit a symphony.
Yeah,
how he moves the proteins, how he moves the coals, how he's looking at things. It's orchestrated. It's beautiful to see it done, and that's why I think these open fire events and these dinners, like, again, I worked in Napa Valley the last year, the price that some of these wineries would pay for open fire cooks to come on and put on a show, right? Were these insane prices because of the the orchestration, the pageantry, the performance, the art that goes into open fire cooking. It's awesome to see. And I know that that's going to come through this masterclass.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's very visual, right?
Yeah.
That's cooking and watching your fire while you're cooking is something special, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something the other night, and I realize it's completely true. You're involving all of your senses when you do your style of cooking. I mean, you're seeing the food, you're smelling the food, you're eventually tasting the food, you're hearing what the sizzling sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You're touching it to see the texture and the feel of the meat. It's like all your senses are involved. And I saw you doing it, and it's hard not to be captivated by it. And at first I was like, dude, I don't know how he does this. And then I was talking to you and kind of explained a little bit about the process. And I was thinking, you know what? I think I have to at least try this. And I was inspired. I was like, I'm getting one of those, and as soon as I get home, I'm trying it. It could be a disaster, but if I watch that masterclass, then I think I'll have it figured out.
Well, that's what it's all about, right? The people to try it. Like it's not hard. And I always said, what is the worst thing that can happen? Like overcook a steak? You're still gonna eat it, right?
Yeah.
If you pay $30 for a steak, you're still gonna eat it. So, so that's not, And once you do it one time, you learn so much, right?
Absolutely.
Once you're done, it's like your head is like, boom. Okay, now I know how to do it. And again, it's everything about patience, right? Like nobody fucked up a meat like cooking it slow, right? That makes sense. So so that's the kind of the concept, right? Let's manage that fire, be patient, and you get it.
Yeah.
Now, Al, if someone would have told you 10 years ago that you would become a social media sensation in 10 years and world renowned for Argentine open fire cooking, would you believe them?
No, not a chance. No.
Yeah. What does that mean to you?
That means a lot of coming like because I'm very passionate about it, right? I love what I do, and to be able to share this with the country that I like. Okay, we are worldwide, right? But mainly my followers from the US. So this is the country that I choose to live, right? And I absolutely admire all the people here, and I love it here. So for me to be able to share my culture, where I come from, and to try to teach people, that's something that is indescribable. I don't know how to describe that. It's like awesome. It's like, I don't know. It's like everything. Yeah. It's a feeling that I'm still like trying to, get my head around it. Right? Yeah.
So tell me about some of like just your excitement and like what's to come, right, with Embers TV.
Well, like I said, right, it's like I have a mission in my life. It's like to teach everybody. So Embers TV gave me that possibility, right, to explain on detail. Like the guys were talking about like the TikTok, right, that you have 30 seconds to show something, right, and after the one video that go viral, we have so many questions, right? Like I've been for years like having so many comments on why do you leave the membrane on, or like some, so now I have the possibility to take my time and explain everybody why I do this, I do that, right? And explain why, all the principles, why we do it. And that's for me is huge.
Yeah.
That's what I'm actually really looking forward to, because I'm gonna study your masterclass as if it were the Zapruder film, right? And I'm gonna look like frame by frame. He did what, when, and where.
Exactly.
So I'm legitimately really, really excited to watch it, because for me, like when it comes to cooking with an offset smoker, I'm pretty familiar with kind of what people do and, different methods and varieties of it. With this, I'm a complete newbie. And so to be put back in the seat of a student and I just get to enjoy and learn is super exciting for me.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go.
Like Matt Groark says, huh?
Yeah, he does say that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Al, what are you drinking? What's in the cup?
Well, this is a Fernet Branca. Let me say it in English, Fernet Branca.
Right? Fernet Branca.
Yeah. That's an Italian like drink with herbs,
I know this drink well. And tell us why this drink is so useful or important?
Well, it's very popular in Argentina because we have a large Italian community there. It got very popular. We mix it with Coca-Cola. In this case, I'm mixing with the sparkling water because I'm. How you say it?
Yeah, but so to that, it helps. This is a what do they call it? A
digestive.
Digestive. Digestivo.
Well, that's digestivo. Yeah, that's the main. I don't do it for that, but.
Like a little shot, like after a full meal.
Yes,
a little shot of this liquor, and that like complete uncomfortable feeling that you have, gone.
Yes, gone. Exactly.
Are you suggesting that I overeat? I've never done that.
I would never
eat too much.
suggest
Okay,
that.
Fernecho, everybody, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Shots all around. So, Al, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for hosting us.
Yes, thank you for allowing us to infiltrate your life, your world, your home, for this entire week. We are honored to pair up with you. I am always in awe. You and I connected very early on. I have a deep love for Argentina, and I have a deep love for wine. And one of the interesting things about Argentina is per capita they consume more beef than any other country in the world, and per capita they consume more wine than any other country.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I could make my home in Argentina, no problem.
Red wine and red meat.
There you go. So
now the honor is mine. Thank you for making me part of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cheers to Alejo Fragoni.
Salud.
Salud. Thank you, sir. Awesome.
Let's go.
And I believe that brings our first inaugural Smoke Show podcast to a close.
I think it was good, man.
Man, it was good. It was, yeah.
I'm even more excited about all the people we're going to be working with. I mean, everybody has a cool story. Everybody has a unique set of skills, not unlike Liam Neeson. But I think everybody coming together to work on this is going to make it even better than I'm imagining, which is the opposite of what usually happens when I make content by myself.
Absolutely. So thank you all for joining us for this first podcast. And if, this is your first time listening, which of course it's your first time listening because this is going to be the first podcast that gets aired, please like and subscribe to this podcast. It's going to be available wherever you get your podcast, right? So Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, I think I already mentioned that one, and even YouTube Podcast. And also subscribe or sign up for Embers TV. If you go to embers.tv, and if you put in the promo code podcast, you're going to get a special deal, and we would love to have you as a subscriber to Embers TV. So thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining. If you guys go do that, you guys are going to be among the very first to access the content that we're working so hard to put out. I'm going to be really, really proud of what we're going to be releasing. I know everybody else will be as well. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It's one of those things that I think we're going to look back on and be happy that we invested the time and energy to create. And I think you as a viewer are going to look back on your subscribing and signing up for Embers TV as, man, that was a great decision. I love this content so much. Every time I open the app, there's something new that I want to see.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be worth it for everyone involved.
All right. Well, cheers, man.
All right. Cheers.
All right. Good night, y'all.